The Silent Deception. Captain Maya Chen stood at the observation deck of the UNSS Prometheus, humanity's most advanced warship, hidden within the dark side of Europa. The massive vessel, nearly 3 kilometers in length, remained invisible to the galaxy at large, exactly as planned. For 15 years, humanity had orchestrated the greatest deception in galactic history, and today would mark its culmination. Status report, Chen ordered, her voice calm despite the weight of what was about to unfold. Lieutenant Rajiv Patel's fingers danced across the quantum interface. All systems nominal, Captain. The Hegemony fleet is approaching Mars orbit exactly as predicted. Their scanning patterns match our simulations to 99.8% accuracy. Chen nodded, watching as the tactical display showed the 7 crystalline vessels of the Galactic Hegemony, the self-proclaimed rulers of civilized space, approaching Earth with their characteristic arrogance. For centuries, the Hegemony had followed the same playbook: identify developing species, observe them until they achieved rudimentary spaceflight, then arrive with overwhelming technological superiority to welcome them into the galactic community. What followed was always the same: technological gifts, laden with backdoors and kill switches, followed by integration, dependence, and eventually complete subjugation. Over 300 species across the Milky Way had fallen to this strategy. The Hegemony believed humanity would be number 301. They were catastrophically wrong. The diplomatic delegation is preparing to receive them at Armstrong Base, reported Commander Sarah Wu, Chen's executive officer. Admiral Okonkwo confirms Operation Trojan Horse is ready to execute on your command. Chen took a deep breath. The plan had been in motion since humanity detected its first Hegemony probe 20 years ago. Instead of announcing their discovery to the world, a select group of global leaders and scientists had made a fateful decision: to hide humanity's true capabilities and present a carefully crafted image of a struggling, primitive species barely able to maintain a lunar outpost. Meanwhile, in secret facilities across the solar system, humanity had leaped centuries ahead. Quantum computing, gravity manipulation, fold space technology, advancements that had come not from hegemony gifts, but from human ingenuity and determination. Open secure channel to all fleet captains, Chen ordered. The quantum entanglement communication system, technology the Hegemony believed was centuries beyond human capability, activated instantly. All vessels report ready, Captain, said Lieutenant Patel. The Athena, Hercules, Thor, and Shiva battle groups are in position, hidden in fold space. The stealth observation network confirms the Hegemony remains unaware. On Earth, the carefully orchestrated charade continued. The global government, unified in secret years ago, but presenting a facade of divided nation-states to Hegemony observers, had prepared a delegation of world leaders who were actually highly trained intelligence operatives. Their mission: to play the part of awestruck primitives while the real counterattack prepared. Chen watched the tactical displays as the Hegemony vessels took position around Earth, their weapons systems powered down but ready, a show of benevolent strength that had cowed hundreds of species before. The Hegemony delegation has landed at Armstrong Base, Wu reported. Ambassador K. Vex is beginning the standard integration speech. Chen activated the secure feed from Armstrong Base. The Hegemony ambassador, a tall crystalline being whose translucent skin revealed pulsing organs beneath, stood before the human delegation, its voice translated by Hegemony devices. People of Earth, Kovacs began, the Galactic Hegemony welcomes you to the greater community of civilized species. We have watched your development with interest, noting your perseverance despite technological limitations. Today marks the beginning of your ascension. The human delegates responded with perfectly rehearsed expressions of awe and gratitude. Only the slight tension in their shoulders betrayed the truth they knew. To facilitate your integration, Kovacs continued, we bring gifts of knowledge and technology. Our engineers will help upgrade your primitive power systems, communication networks, and transportation infrastructure. In return, we ask only for your cooperation and acceptance of hegemony guidance in all interstellar matters. UN Secretary General Lin, actually Colonel Jessica Lin of Global Intelligence, stepped forward with carefully practiced humility. Ambassador Kovacs, humanity is honored by your generosity. However, such significant changes to our civilization would require careful consideration by all our nations. Kovacs's crystalline structure flickered with what human xenologists had identified as amusement. Of course, Secretary General. However, I must emphasize that hegemony protection is not optional. The galaxy contains many dangers for developing species. As if on cue, the 7 hegemony ships in orbit activated their weapon systems, not firing, but making their presence known. A standard intimidation tactic. Captain, Paddle reported, the hegemony vessels are deploying integration modules to our power grids and communication systems. Chen's lips curved into a cold smile. Let them connect. Operation Trojan Horse commences now. Throughout Earth's infrastructure, specially designed quantum honeypots activated, allowing the hegemony systems to believe they had successfully inserted their control mechanisms. In reality, they were being fed fabricated data while human technicians traced the signals back to their source. They're in, Wu confirmed, watching the data streams. Their control systems think they've successfully compromised our power grids, weapons systems, and satellite networks. Kovacs's meeting with the human delegation continued. As a demonstration of our sincerity, the ambassador was saying, we would like to offer an immediate technological upgrade to your primitive lunar base. Colonel Lin nodded gratefully. We would be honored, Ambassador. Kovacs made a gesture, and the lights in Armstrong base flickered momentarily. A small adjustment to improve efficiency, Kovacs explained, its tone condescending. Your power systems now operate 30% more efficiently under our guidance. How remarkable, Lin replied, feigning amazement. Such technology seems almost magical to us. Kovacs's crystalline form pulsed with satisfaction. This is merely the beginning. Now, shall we discuss the terms of your world's integration into the hegemony? In the observation deck of the Prometheus, Captain Chen watched the exchange with grim satisfaction. They've taken the bait. All ships prepare for Phase 2. Across the solar system, hidden in fold space, 117 warships of the United Nations Space Defense Force readied their systems. Each represented the pinnacle of human military technology, weapons and defenses developed in secret, tested in the darkness beyond Neptune, and hidden from hegemony observers. Admiral Okonkwo gives the final authorization, Wu reported. Operation Phoenix is a go. Chen nodded firmly. Send the signal. At Armstrong Base, as Kovacs began outlining the protective oversight the hegemony would provide, Colonel Lin's communicator chirped softly. She glanced at it and then looked up at the ambassador with a completely transformed expression. Gone was the humble, awestruck official. In her place stood a confident military commander. Ambassador Kovacs, Lin said, her voice suddenly crisp and authoritative. On behalf of the United Earth government, I must decline your generous offer of integration. Kovacs's crystalline form stiffened. I don't believe you understand, Secretary General. This is not a negotiation. Oh, I understand perfectly, Lin replied. Computer, execute protocol Prometheus. Armstrong Base's primitive systems suddenly transformed. Holographic interfaces materialized, displaying technology far beyond what the hegemony believed humans possessed. Security fields activated, surrounding the stunned hegemony delegation. What is this? Kovacs demanded, its translator struggling to convey its shock. Lin smiled. This, Ambassador, is humanity showing its true face. In orbit, the 7 hegemony vessels suddenly detected energy signatures that hadn't been there moments before. Space seemed to fold and ripple as the human fleet phased into normal space. Massive warships appearing from nowhere, each positioning itself near a hegemony vessel. And at the center of the human formation, the UNSS Prometheus emerged from its fold space pocket, dwarfing even the largest hegemony cruiser. On its bridge, Captain Maya Chen opened a communication channel to the hegemony flagship. "Attention hegemony vessels. This is Captain Maya Chen of the United Nations Space Defense Force. Your deception has failed. Your subjugation tactics have been documented and analyzed. Your technology has been studied and surpassed." She paused, allowing the shock to register. "For 20 years, humanity has watched you watching us. We have mapped your empire, identified your weaknesses, and prepared accordingly. We are not your subjects. We are not your 301st conquest." Chen's voice hardened. "We are humanity, and we are here to change the rules of the game." The Reckoning. Grand Admiral Kothal's crystalline form pulsed with rage as he materialized on the command deck of the hegemony flagship. His subordinates shrank back, their translucent bodies dimming in submission. "Explain this failure," he demanded of Fleet Commander Zuvex, Kovex's superior. "How did a primitive species hide an entire battle fleet from our observers?" Before Zuvex could respond, the communication system activated again. Captain Chen's image appeared on their main display, her expression calm but resolute. "Grand Admiral Kothal," she said, addressing him by name and rank, information the hegemony had never shared with humans. "I trust you're comfortable aboard the Eternal Dominance. Impressive vessel, though your quantum shielding has a vulnerability at frequency band 943.6 terahertz that you might want to address." Cathal's crystalline structure froze in shock. "How do you know these things?" Chen smiled slightly. "The same way we know about the subjugation protocols embedded in your gift technology. The same way we know about the 300 species you've reduced to client states. The same way we know about the rebellion brewing in the Orion Spur." In the tactical center of the Prometheus, Commander Wu monitored the quantum field signatures of the hegemony vessels. "They're charging weapons, Captain. Targeting solutions forming." Chen nodded, unsurprised. "As expected, all vessels, defensive protocols Omega. Engage quantum shields." The human ships shimmered as layered quantum defense fields activated, technology that, according to hegemony understanding of physics, should be impossible for any species to develop independently. Cathal's voice crackled through the communication channel. "This demonstration is impressive, humans, but futile. The hegemony has ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Your deception and hidden fleet cannot stand against our full might." As if to emphasize his point, the 7 hegemony vessels fired simultaneously, dazzling beams of coherent energy lancing toward the human ships. The beams splashed harmlessly against the quantum shields, dissipating into multicolored fractal patterns. "I believe a demonstration is in order," Chen replied calmly. "Lieutenant Patel, targeted EMP pulse, minimum strength. Disable their secondary systems only." "Aye, Captain," Patel responded, executing the command. From the Prometheus, a wave of invisible energy washed over the hegemony flagship. Immediately, its external lighting, sensor arrays, and communication systems went dark. Life support and propulsion remained untouched, a deliberate choice. "That was approximately 5% of our offensive capability," Chen informed the stunned admiral when emergency systems restored communications. "We could have disabled your entire fleet. Instead, we chose restraint." "Impossible," Kothal whispered. "Our technology is superior. We are the most advanced civilization in the galaxy." Chen interrupted. "No, Admiral. You are simply the most arrogant." She gestured, and the tactical display expanded to show the entire solar system. Hidden monitoring stations, defense platforms, and auxiliary vessels decloaked, revealing the full extent of humanity's preparedness. "While you believed you were watching primitive humans struggling with basic rocketry, we were studying you," Chen explained. "Your predictable patterns of conquest, your technological dependencies, your strategic weaknesses." The display shifted again, showing star systems throughout the hegemony's territory. "We have stealth observation posts in 17 of your core systems," Chen continued. We've mapped your defense networks, studied your fleet deployments, and identified the critical vulnerabilities in your infrastructure. Kethel's crystalline form pulsed with a mixture of rage and disbelief. You expect me to believe that a single planet of primitives accomplished this? Not alone, Chen replied. Computer, establish secure channels to all allied forces. The tactical display transformed, showing hundreds of ships decloaking throughout hegemony space, vessels of various designs and origins, but all clearly advanced and combat-ready. Allow me to introduce you to the Alliance of Free Worlds, Chen said. Representatives from 43 species you thought safely under your control. Species who maintain their own secret development programs. Species who have been waiting for the opportunity to break free. One by one, faces appeared on the display. Beings of diverse forms and evolutionary paths, but united by a common purpose. This is High Commander's X-Tray of the Arcturian Defense Force, said a chitinous being with compound eyes. For 3 centuries, we have hidden our true capabilities while serving as your grateful subjects. No more. General Mokinar of the Regelian Liberation Front announced a gaseous entity contained in a sophisticated environmental suit. Your control systems in our infrastructure have been compromised for decades. We simply waited for the right allies. More introductions followed, species after species revealing they had secretly maintained independence while presenting a facade of submission to the hegemony. Kethel's rage gave way to dawning horror as he realized the true extent of the conspiracy. This is impossible. A deception on this scale was exactly what you deserved, Chen finished for him. Your arrogance made it possible. Your certainty that no lesser species could possibly outsmart the mighty hegemony allowed us all to prepare in plain sight. At Armstrong Base, Colonel Lin was continuing her own confrontation with Ambassador Kovacs. Your gifts have been analyzed down to the quantum level, she informed the stunned diplomat. The control systems, the backdoors, the kill switches, all documented and neutralized. She gestured and holographic displays showed hundreds of hegemony technology samples disassembled and reverse-engineered. What you intended as chains, we've transformed into tools, Lin continued. What you designed to enslave us has only made us stronger. In orbit, Captain Chen delivered the final blow to the hegemony's pride. Grand Admiral Cathal, I am authorized by the United Earth Government and the Alliance of Free Worlds to present you with terms. Terms? Cathal repeated incredulously. Yes, Admiral. Terms for the hegemony's surrender and reorganization. Chen's expression remained calm but implacable. All subjugated worlds will be granted full independence. Hegemony control systems will be removed from their infrastructure. Reparations will be paid for centuries of exploitation. She paused, letting the magnitude sink in. The hegemony will withdraw to its original 5 homeworlds. Your military will be reduced to defensive capabilities only, and you will submit to oversight by an alliance tribunal until such time as you've proven yourselves worthy of trust. Kethel's crystalline form pulsed with outrage. You cannot possibly enforce such demands. The hegemony has 10,000 warships. Outdated warships with compromised command systems. Chen corrected him. The Alliance has been infiltrating your military networks for decades. At this moment, 70% of your fleet is effectively neutralized. To demonstrate, Chen nodded to Commander Wu, who activated a sequence. Throughout hegemony space, warships suddenly found their weapon systems locked down, their engines limited to life support levels, their communication restricted to emergency channels only. This is not a negotiation, Admiral, Chen said, echoing the hegemony's own favorite phrase. It is the new reality. In the hours that followed, the full extent of humanity's masterstroke became clear. The carefully orchestrated revelation unfolded simultaneously across 1,000 worlds. Species that the hegemony had thought safely subjugated rose up, their hidden technologies and forces combining with the Alliance fleet in a single coordinated action. By the day's end, the Galactic hegemony, the dominant power for 10 millennia, found itself surrounded, outmaneuvered, and facing an ultimatum from those it had dismissed as primitives. In the observation lounge of the Prometheus, Captain Chen and Colonel Lin watched Earth rotate slowly below them, its blue-green surface peaceful despite the momentous events unfolding across the galaxy. "Do you think they'll accept the terms?" Lin asked. Chen considered the question. "They have no choice. Their empire was built on technological intimidation and the perception of invincibility. We've shattered both." "And the alliance?" Lin pressed. "Will it hold together now that the common enemy is neutralized?" Chen smiled, more genuinely this time. "That's where the real work begins. Building is always harder than breaking. But I have faith." She turned to face the stars beyond the solar system, stars whose worlds were experiencing their first taste of true freedom in centuries. "Humanity didn't just build better ships or weapons," Chen said quietly. "We built a better vision. Not domination, not subjugation, but cooperation, mutual respect, true alliance." She touched the viewport, her fingers tracing the path toward distant stars. "The hegemony ruled through fear for 10,000 years. Let's see if we can build something better through hope." Across the galaxy, on worlds long oppressed, beings of countless forms looked up at their skies with new emotions. For some, it was the first time in generations they had felt something long forgotten. Hope. The age of the hegemony was over, the age of humanity. And the alliance they had helped forge had just begun.